Charlie from Daily Motor. Today we've got the sound system demo of the 2022 Mazda CX-30 and its 12-speaker Bose audio system. This is going to be an in-depth review. We're going to take a look at how the infotainment system works, take a look at audio adjustments, inputs, controls, speaker locations, then we're going to head out on the road and listen to these sample tracks while we're rolling, and I'll give you my thoughts at the end. Now if you don't care about any of that stuff at the beginning, you just want to hear the music, click ahead in the video. We've got chapters to get you right to the tunes. And we recommend listening with headphones in your ears. That will give you an identical experience to what I'm listening to here in the car. Before we get started, let's hop out and take a look at it. This is the top dog Mazda CX-30. Mazda always likes sending out their top level press cars, and obviously they have a lot of cool things to show, but it would be cool to review more of a basic Mazda sometime. Either way, this thing is priced really well for everything it provides. Powerful turbocharged engine, beautiful paint, beautiful interior, nice materials, decent driving dynamics. If it were me personally, I think the CX-5 or CX-50 probably a better fit for a lot of people, but if you've decided that the CX-30 is the right size for you, check the links in the description for all our other coverage on the vehicle. Now we always do these tests with lossless, uncompressed WAV files and a USB stick plugged directly into the system, and high quality Roland binaural microphones in both of my ears, giving you the most realistic audio system demo on YouTube. We also do the test with the sound settings set to their factory defaults. Let's take a look at those now. No touchscreen for the infotainment system. Everything is controlled through this knob. It works pretty well, but there is a learning curve. Once you get used to it, you can head right over here to the audio section using the audio button. You're greeted with this now playing screen. Let's press the menu and go down to audio settings. Ooh, I gotta be careful because it looks like the camera is wiggling every time I use the knob. I'm gonna be very gentle with it. We've got adjustments for bass and treble. Let's take a look at those now. No adjustment for mid-range, that's a little bit disappointing. Also, once you start getting into nicer systems, it's really nice to see a 5 or a 9-band equalizer. Below that, you have an adjustment for listening position. It's going to focus sound on either all seats or just the driver's seat. Being a smaller car like the CX-30, I could see people taking advantage of that driver's seat functionality. Then you've got front, rear, left, right, fader, and balance. And Bose stereo mode. Now when center point is off, we'll talk about that in a minute, with center point off you can adjust stereo mode between linear and standard. So linear is going to focus a little bit more of the sound in front of you as you might have in a high-end audio system. Standard is going to sound a little bit more focused around you, focusing on all the speakers. It's subtle, but once this next song gets going, I'll go back and click between those two and see if you can notice a difference. Then you have Bose Centerpoint, and what this does is, as it says, creates a virtual sound listening experience. It's really Bose's version of a 3D or surround sound. Certain Bose systems I like it, some I don't. It also kind of depends on the music I'm listening to. But again, as the song gets going, we'll turn it up and demo the off and then 1, 2, and 3 settings. Then Bose Audio Pilot adjusts levels of music as you get going. There's more road noise, wind noise, engine and drivetrain noise that's going to compensate for it in your audio. I do typically have that on when I'm just owning a vehicle or driving around, but for the purposes of the sound test, it's best to have it off and manually adjust the volume to get the true recording sound. So let's go back through center point and stereo mode. Between those two are so subtle, I'm almost surprised that Bose even bothered to have an adjustment between them. But center point's more noticeable. Center point sounds more hollow, a little bit more artificial, and it sounds like the music's being focused right more in the center there from that center speaker. If you want a more true to recording sound, you want to have that off, but when I'm listening to easy listening type music, maybe somebody else in the car, sometimes I like to have a center point on. It creates a little more of an immersive experience. We're going to do most of our testing with center point off and Bose stereo mode in standard. For audio controls in the CX-30, I have a nice volume knob here. It's in good proximity to the center rotary knob. Good clicks as well. You also have volume on the left side of the wheel. For track selection, you can rotate through with the knob if you're on the proper screen. I also like how with the volume knob, you can toggle it back and forth for changing tracks. I will say, in previous Mazdas, I have accidentally toggled tracks back and forth when adjusting volume, so we'll see if that happens today. You also have track selection on the left side of the wheel, right next to volume, where it should be. Audio inputs in the CX-30. You have your standard AM, FM, Sirius XM satellite radio, Pandora streaming built in, Bluetooth, USB-A with support for Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and that is it. What does that mean you're missing? There's no USB Type-C port, even in a 2022 car here, and there's no wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. That's a little bit of a bummer for sort of this premium style market, or just sub-premium, if you will. And technically there's no 3.5mm input jack as well. Speaker locations. As I said, this is a 12 speaker system, and I'm happy to be reviewing this car again because on our previous sound system test of a 2020 CX-30, I didn't know where the speakers were. All of them. There were 2 speakers that eluded me, but commenters came in to the rescue, and now I can safely tell you where they all are. Starting in the bottom left, you've got a door mid-range tweeter, 1, 2, and then in the firewall there, you've got 3, so more of a low-range woofer, 4 center, 5, 6, 7 over on the other side, getting in the back, 8, 9 in the doors. Well, let's actually just go all the way back here. 10, 11 in the D pillars right there, and then 12 subwoofer right there in the center, and the sub spare tire, which, side note, nice to have a spare tire. All right, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto demo is going to be done by Mr. Brower in the infotainment review. So we're gonna get this stuff away and get out on the road. Quick side note, I forgot to mention at the beginning, if you'd like to hear our members only test of this system and hear some tracks requested by members, some real music, if you will, sign up to become a Daily Motor member and check the link in the description. There we're going to be listening to some real tracks. I'm going to head out and do that right now and evaluate the system. But let's get out on the road. music that I think sounds the best in a system like this. It doesn't necessarily need that huge thumping bass in the chest sort of feeling to make it feel powerful, strong, and nice. And that's what this does. You've got those woofers that are down in the firewall. It creates a nice, holistic, crisp, strong experience. Now, some of those other type songs, the bass and hip-hop heavy, you might be lacking a little bit and feel like you're missing out, but this one sounds quite good. Speaking of bass, for this next one, we're going to turn the bass all the way up and see how it sounds. Actually, quite a lot of bass. It is admittedly pretty center forward. I'm surprised that subwoofer in the back's not doing a little more heavy lifting, but it sounds good. And like I said, for a lot of more easy listening, nice listening type music, I think people are going to be pretty happy. I'd probably crank the bass up 1 or 2 for all of my sorts of listening. I just kind of prefer a little bit more of that sound, but not bad. I'll switch over to center point on partway through this song. My thoughts on the 12-speaker Bose system here in the Mazda CX-30. It's interesting with these Mazda Boses because some of them and some of the smaller cars I'm really blown away, and then sometimes some of the larger cars I'm like, that wasn't quite as impressive. For example, I gave the Mazda 3 A tier. I want to say, I can't quite remember. I can't remember if the CX-5 was A tier or B tier, but I know I gave the CX-50 B tier. But I'm leaning toward A tier for this one. Obviously, every vehicle's different. They've got different development teams. There's many subtleties that we don't realize go into the development of a vehicle and a sound system. This one sounds really darn good, and for the price, the fact that you're paying not luxury car money to get this excellent sound system, I'm giving it an A. Now, if they continue on for too many years without adding wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, then we might have to be looking a little bit closer to B, because it's just barely getting an A right now, but the sound quality's great. I love listening to it, and I think you will too. Thank you all so much for watching. If you do want to see more on the CX-30, check the link in the description, and we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.